All right, welcome back to Waking the People. I am Chad Everett Broshears, and I'm with my co-host, Josh. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's get into it, man. We got some stuff to talk about.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Waking the People. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Caffeine running through my veins, ashwagandha running through my veins, a little bit of vitamin E here and now, so we're ready to go. Glad to have you guys back, my fellow Patriots, my fellow Americans. Got some good, kind of a slow week, but we got some solid topics that we're going to talk about today. Kind of also the elephant in the room, what we kind of let off with last episode. We'll start to see those clips come out here shortly. And I'm glad actually that we took the stance we did because how things are developing. And that is going to be really the Thomas Massie and Rohana forcing the DOJ's hand to release more names that were redacted from the Epstein files. So it looks like we got about 6 more names that have been redacted by the DOJ from the Epstein files. Really, this is coming to fruition because those 2 senators really forcing the DOJ's hand and releasing them. What they initially did, this is kind of cool. What they did is they said, listen, either you can release the names, DOJ, you can release the names that were redacted. And if you don't do it, what we're going to do is we're going to go on the House floor and say them ourselves. Because whenever you're on the House floor, they are within immunity for speaking freely with no fear of civil or criminal charges or prosecutions upon them.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so they can just say whatever they want, and they said, listen, if you don't do it, we're going to go and we're just going to say it. Y'all can, settle the dust after everything gets blown up. So glad we took the stance we did. I got, some good talking points on it. First, I want to hear what Chad thinks about it, and we'll kind of just dive into that.
So here's the beautiful thing about technology. All right, now I have my gripes with AI, and I'm open to talk about it all the time, just simply because it is, a dark horse that we don't realize. But here's one of the benefits. A young tech genius, basically, has come out and created a way of deciphering every bit of it. So everything that is redacted, the AI that he programmed will completely unredact everything.
Really?
Yes. So, and they're planning to have that done within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So there's one thing, right? So I appreciate the activism that we do get from some of these elected officials. I would like to see that we are more, I prefer the professional side, that at times, let's face it, you got to hit it with the spice and you got to hit it with some of that not so nice, right? And that's just simply because, look, when we talk about what that accusation, well, it's not the accusations, it's what he's already been convicted of, Epstein being convicted. But apparently it's a whole lot bigger than that.
Yeah.
There's arms dealing, there's all kinds of stuff. But first off, let's get the thing that's going to create the greatest degree of straightening out these elites. And that is, let's start punishing these son of a bitches for what they've done. So now, again, my position is, look, be aware, be informed. Don't become obsessed with it. Just stay informed and be, if you need to go and talk to your congressperson, elected official, go talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay. But as far as Rohana and actually, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene did a really good job before she resigned.
Yeah, she did.
So it was building up the pipeline, if you will, because look, there's some of us, we're not going to forget. And there's a lot of Americans that aren't going to forget, especially people that want to protect children.
Exactly.
None of us are forgetting this one. Okay. I can see that this is going to be a major issue if Trump doesn't get on the right side of it, because this is not helping him at all. And his elected officials really do appear to be doing a very bad job.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. And that's kind of my next bit. I mean, when you think about it, and I've been seeing this a lot. I've been seeing this proliferation online of MAGA and their thoughts on this situation. And it's what really should piss people off is the fact that the DOJ has sat on this information for decades, essentially, and has done nothing about it. I have friends who have been investigated, indicted, and charged by the FBI, all white-collar crimes. But guess what? They did their time and they got their punishment. There was no, oh, don't worry about it, it's a hoax. So they did their time, and it's really time to talk, MAGA. And I've actually never said my political affiliation on the channel. This is going to be the first time, and it's very broad. But really what I am is a libertarian with a small L. If you don't know what that means for you mouth breathers, just go out there and Google it, do some research on it. They're going to be out there like, oh, he's a liberal. Like, it's just go do a little bit of research on it. And I am on y'all's team. I was part of the Ron Paul revolution. I was part of the Trump revolution.
You mean you weren't going to get the other one that was elected to run for office back in the last race?
No,
Yeah,
absolutely
the
not.
transgender?
No.
No?
No, I voted for Trump 3 times. Trump really, he was a revival, right? He was the next big movement. He was what the Republican Party was waiting for. We had Mitt Romney and we just had terrible candidates and John McCain. But I always knew, and I thought that the masses of this movement knew that Trump was just the beginning. He was not the end. So what I see now is this proliferation of MAGA supporters hating on America First candidates like Thomas Massie. I think there are a lot of MAGA supporters out there that are missing the point. And the point is that Trump is not the end all be all. You are allowed to disagree with him, and he is not a superior figure in any way compared to others. So you see people that are like, oh, well, Trump's, like Trump's the end. That's getting to a good point too. If you don't agree with Trump, then you're 100% wrong. And if you don't agree with Trump, you're 100% not in the club. Do you know what that sounds like? It sounds like the left is what it sounds like.
It does.
And if MAGA doesn't start understanding that this is bigger than just Trump, and there's going to be a faction of the right, the hardcore MAGAs that are just going to sail off into the sunset in 2028. And that's okay. That's just how it's going to work. But for the rest of us, for the people that watch the show, for the people that really understand what's going on, you have to remember that this is just the beginning. This is not the end. And if we want to get things right, we're going to need to evolve just like the left is evolving.
Yeah, that's one thing that's definitely that absolutely annoyed the hell out of me, and annoys the hell out of me about the left. None of them can question their authorities. You fall in line or you're out. Look at what they tried to do to Mayor Adams. And he's trying to say, hey, we don't do something about this, we're going to be running into some serious financial issues.
Yes.
And what did they do? Like, okay, well, now we're going to investigate you with the FBI. And it's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, so yeah, you can't. I don't know what the hell they're going to do to Fetterman. Because I promise you, he's had closed door conversations with some very powerful Democrats. And I do have to say that I've turned my view on him a bit. Because, I think he's probably one of the last true Democrats that's actually that's in an elected position. I can't think of another one that actually does seem like they're at least America first.
Trying.
Well, he does. Fetterman seems like he's an America First Democrat. And that blows my mind because it almost seems like, what the fuck did I just say? It's like, that's not the left. The left, like they'll run any flag in the world except for the United States until it looked really bad for PR. And then they got rid of the Mexican flags and other South American flags and brought up Central and South American. And then they're like, oh, let's start passing out these American flags because it was polling horrible. Here's one of the things that I want to make sure that I have very clear for everybody. For me, I look at the fruits of your labor to know you, not what you say, because there's silver-tongued devils, as a hiring manager and helping companies hire employees. Like, anybody can interview well, and people do study to be great at interviewing. And once they have the job, they have 90 days to get settled in. After the 90 days, then they can look at the potential discrimination issues, stuff like that, if you fire them. So you have to take a process, and you can lose a lot of money in the first 120 days, because what the hell do you do when you have a brand new person? They pretty much have a job that's guaranteed, as long as they don't just do something outright to get fired. So, vetting people by the fruits of their action. I have methods for that, by the way. We can discuss it another time on how to vet candidates. But point of it is this, with what we have right now, with what's going on with Epstein, we have a lot of people that are in positions that the fruits of their labor show nothing. So we're not looking, I don't want Jesus Christ as the president now, because that's not who we have. Who we have is the person we have hired. We have elected him to do a job, and I don't care how ugly it gets. It's going to get ugly because he's been set up for it to be ugly. Now, for every motherfucker that has been in office, and I don't give a damn what position they're in, if they've had any possible say-so about getting this information from the Epstein files, from getting it out since they've had it, and they have not done it, I don't want to hear a fucking thing from any one of them putting that shit on Trump. It has been in the possession, in authorities' possessions for a long time, and nobody's done a goddamn thing about it. And finally, when it's released, it gets dumped with a whole shit ton of information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, that's going to cause problems in our economy. Whenever everything is that's no longer, it's unredacted, when all that stuff comes out, yeah, it's going to cause us problems. I don't want to see our great nation fall, but at the same time, I'm not willing to let go of accountability, because this is how it works. I'm a father. If you don't hold accountability for your child when they do something that you don't want them to do, guess what? That's consent to do it again.
Exactly.
You have to have that level. So for me, I am perfectly fine with the gallows. I'm perfectly fine with putting people out there and actually having them hanging for doing shit that they've done. But again, I'm not going to get so caught up in it right now that I'm going to stagnate everything in my life. You have to continue to plan the future.
Exactly.
So for every one of these motherfuckers that have not done something and now they're acting all, oh my God, the gas and all the rest of this, I look at them as some of the worst theater actors that are out there. And damn it, I can't wait to find out how we can hold those motherfuckers accountable too.
Exactly.
You know, they want to say that Trump is protecting pedophiles. They did too.
Yeah, it's a good point. And then, like Pam Bondi going in front of the House floor and saying, you know, if they all come out, and then we had this conversation actually a couple of months ago. I think you remember what my thoughts were on Pam Bondi, and some things, you know, they turn out to be correct. And so what she said is that if all the files get released, the system will collapse. Well, guess what? Sometimes the system should fucking collapse, because I'd rather live in a collapsed system. Yes, I'd rather live in a collapsed system where we can rebuild right than keep things as the status quo just to elevate people who have possibly committed atrocious crimes against the state, against the American people. No one is above the law. So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
It's just, it has to be controlled demolition.
Yeah.
Because let's look at it right now. How many superpowers are our enemies?
Quite a few, unfortunately.
Right. And if that happens, that's as bad. It's actually probably worse than a civil war.
Yeah.
And a civil war can very well come out of it, because we're already frustrated with each other politically.
Yeah.
You know, and this is coming from an independent. I don't have a side. I don't. But I will tell you this: I will never vote Democrat, or at least as far as the party. But then again, this is the way I look at it. The Democrat and Republicans are just skin suits that these nasty motherfuckers that are behind the scenes run in. So when they say, okay, well, you know what, the Republicans have really bad PR right now. There's some issues that we can't seem to shake. Let's go and abandon that. The people know the faces they've seen, the what they've been told to say, because their handlers told them to say whatever they did. And then their reputation is the one on the line. And then you find out those nasty motherfuckers behind the scenes, all they did is just said, okay, looks like we're wearing blue today. And they just constantly played this shit. It's national. This is part of the globalist issue. So anyway, this is a big problem that I have. And if we want to start correcting this, controlled demolition is the way to go. Nobody should come out of this without actually being completely vindicated through the legal process.
Exactly.
You know, you're not guilty until you're proven guilty, but if your name shows up in certain places, you got some questions you need to answer.
Exactly.
You know, and if you find out your name is attached to torture videos and children, your answering is not going to be sitting in a calm room where you can just say, oh, well, whatever, give me club fed.
Yeah, exactly.
No, to do unto others shall that be done unto you.
And I want to know what they actually mean by system collapse. If a couple billionaires go to jail and they lose all their shit, that's not collapsing, right? No. Maybe the secret club will collapse. Maybe your world will collapse. But last time I checked, Chad and I aren't on the list. We're not in the files. I've never even been to that part of Florida.
Meritocracy.
So, it's so
prevail in a controlled demolition.
Exactly. So the most people will not feel this collapse in the sense that what she's talking about. But I guess the status quo of how politics and how hierarchies work will collapse. Well, sometimes that's very necessary.
Absolutely. So yeah, we can't be held hostage. So, I mean, I saw some of the things on that, by the way, and I'm like, I'd fire that. I'd fire that fucking immediately.
Sometimes you have
Don't you fucking dare go from being asked a direct question and then go into some complete, it's called a non sequitur. Right? Change subjects because you just don't want to fucking answer that question. You know, so let's face it though, for her behalf, for argument's sake, is that she had how many documents to get through in order to understand whether or not what's in the files, right? She is not in control of the entire DOJ.
No.
She's at the head of the DOJ, but there are a lot of bad actors that are under her that will purposely jam things up. Now we're seeing that in real time.
Yeah.
Because she was under the impression that, hey, look, as much as Cash has done whatever the fuck Cash has done, same thing with him. The FBI is incredibly polarized.
Yeah, they are.
They are very, very political. So you have one side that's the America First side of it, and then you have the other side, which is the destructive Democrat mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and it's nasty. We see it. Look, so when she's fumbling and bumbling, I understand why.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, how are we supposed to fix this? Really? You and I don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
No.
None of us do. You don't either, no matter how much you think you do, unless you're directly there. But even then, look, they have CIA that has purposely got involved, like with Nixon. The CIA got involved with that and set him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was 100%. They talked him into believing something that they were doing that was supposed to be right. And then as soon as it was let out to the public, which they did themselves, put it out to the public so that Nixon would look like he was a bad guy and he was up to bad shit.
Yep.
No, they assassinated his character.
Yeah. And he was going to win anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If it would not have worked to assassinate his character, he'd be the other JFK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Nixon next.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we have a nasty, corrupt system.
We do.
We are not always the heroes. I'm very patriotic. America is my country. The American dream is my dream. And I want all of us to have that as best as we can create this, but you got to work for it, right?
Yeah.
But then you find out that a lot of the work that you're doing contributes to these nasty motherfuckers that are doing nasty things. You know, so how do we fix this stuff? Let the fruit of their labor tell you their truth.
Yep. Death to bureaucracy. We just have a giant bureaucracy in just almost every aspect of our government, at least from the intelligence agencies for sure. And it's just got to go away. So hopefully we get more files released. We get more names released. A couple names like Les Wexter. I thought everyone knew that. You know, I knew that like 8 years ago that he was on the list. It's pretty obvious, you know. And there's another guy, I guess some billionaire in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully we can bring his ass over here and get justice with that. Now the other names, the other 4 names, I think those are the ones they're kind of scared to release. And you can kind of tell. Thomas Massie hinted at some possible people it could be. You could read between the lines. One of them, I don't know who it could be. I guess we'll see. And, you know, Trump is kind of, I guess there's been some more information released as far as Trump's name in the Epstein files. And from what it looks like, at least from a very, skimmed over version of the research, is that he was one of the ones that actually called the police and kind of led them on to Epstein, is how it looks. So
yeah, he turned him in.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That be the case. Hopefully that's the case. The last thing I think that America needs is a super corrupt politician that is the president, that is implicated in these crimes. So I hope that stands to fruition and we can move forward, at least in that aspect of the episode.
I want to see this entire thing fucking backfire on all of those nasty motherfuckers, all of them.
Yeah.
So, but I do have to say that I do want to see that we stay America first in this entire process. So I am, I've got MAGA in me. I've got America first. I'm not MAGA to a cult level, right? Like he's not Jesus. I'm not trying to prop him up to be one. Look, running a state is like running a business. Running the federal government is like running a business. You want somebody who has the ability to understand legacy of a business, not these motherfuckers that are trying to basically do what private equity does, which is try to extract every dollar you possibly can for an investment vehicle until the vehicle is no longer valuable. Then you part out to maximize your total return and you move on, which is parting out the company, right? I don't want those nasty motherfuckers having that mentality running our country either. And I can tell you by the fruit of their action, I can tell you that Trump is one of the best presidents of mine. Actually, I'd say beyond my lifetime.
Yeah.
So, but we have to get people to understand he's not perfection. None of us are. No. But he's not perfection. He's doing the job he was elected to do. The rest of this shit where he's trying to play it so that he doesn't upset too much on any side. Because I understand when you have powerful business people that if they pull back their support, you just lost a piece of the potential pillar of the economy. Yeah, I understand. He's trying to play the businessman position, but we can't forget the character of what happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the character of what happened is it's the nasty motherfucker that lives next door to you that you know for a fact did some shit to some kids, and the law hasn't fucking dropped the hammer yet.
Exactly.
And you have to deal with that moral decision to sit there and just wait and let the fucking process work its way out, versus doing what a man wants to do when you find out somebody's done something like that to a kid.
Exactly.
You know, so it's hard. I get it. We're sitting in the fucking middle of having to understand this and make a decision to trust a process, right? Trust the process. I'm not QAnon, guys, but to trust the process, you just have to understand that there's a lot more going on than what you know, but we can't let the fact go that there are people that need to be punished for this. And I mean, punished.
Yeah.
I don't mean, oh, okay, we're going to fine you and you're going to run off to another country and just don't ever come back to the United States. Okay. No, it's the same thing for these fuckers that are stealing our tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. You're not just going to get a ride back home so you can go enjoy the money you fucking looted.
Exactly.
So anyway, I apparently have a lot more to say about this.
Well, you know, it's going to develop. So as things go on, we're going to continue to touch on it, just like we did in the previous episode. So, got some other good stuff, some good local stuff. It's been a topic on the show consistently, which is kind of it's a good thing because it's an ever evolving. And this is an article from Tampa Bay Times. I miss Tampa Bay Times. They used to be pretty awesome, and they've kind of fallen off. But sometimes they have some good articles. So basically what's going on is that Florida eyes penalties for employers of undocumented migrants hurt on the job. The bill comes after Tampa Bay Times investigator revealed that state road builders had at least 3 undocumented workers' deaths. Florida lawmakers have filed a bill to penalize companies employing undocumented immigrants who get hurt on the job months after a state contractor has revealed on migrant labor for years with deadly consequences. Senate Bill 1380 would require employers who knowingly hire people not authorized to work in the United States to pay for those workers' medical bills if they get hurt.
Good.
It would do so by making these companies personally and fully liable for the medical expenses and profiting behind them to shift financial responsibilities, having an insurance company at a state agency. So instead of getting, you know a lot about more about this than I do, but essentially it's going to be on the company to pay for that, not workers' comp, which is normally funded by the state, right?
Well, you fund it.
Okay.
You fund it. Now, how we do it, though, is we do it through payroll taxes.
Okay.
So you go by your scoring. So you go by the industry itself, and it has a rating that specifically says based off of the incidences of injury, you know, accidents, things like that, the propensity of that particular industry. Then they give you a value that goes to the payroll. So for every hour worked, you may have 91 cents you pay it, something like that as an example. It's not exact. By the way, I'm not telling you how to do your business. You need to speak to your lawyers about that and, you know, seek out proper counsel because I don't know you. You know, so I'm not going to give that. But what I am going to tell you is I can give you some of the roundabout understanding of this. So whenever it comes to that, what happens is it's the same thing. I'm a big advocate for this because for the tradespeople that have employed illegals, better get your shit straight now. Okay. I understand it's you pretty much were forced into it. You're not anymore. And you have to straighten it up. If you have a trade, you know, whether you do landscape or whatever it is, you need to get right with Jesus, right? You need to get right with the American policies and tax liabilities, everything necessary to run the business legitimately. I understand you got that sweet margin that gave you your ability to upgrade your truck and get a boat, bigger house, and get your wife her new bolt-ons, whatever the hell it is. I understand. I get it. But at the same time, you have contributed to putting people out of work in the Americans out of work. So it's time to get right with it. So straighten it up, because when it comes down to that, what they typically do is it's one person is the most common, where they have one person on payroll. They pay workman's comp to that one. Well, actually, if it's one person, you don't have to pay it because you're self-insured.
Yeah.
Right. If you have 2 people, yes, you are required at that point because you have to make sure that the person, if they get injured, they are covered. Okay. They're not doing this. So they get to skimp out. Everybody else who wants to do a legitimate business is now at a disadvantage whenever people shitty actions like that really put everybody in a bad spot. So if you have an illegal immigrant working for you and you know it, or even if you're paying somebody under the table, by the way, I guarantee you that law will end up either, if it doesn't have it contained in it now, it will add to it later. If you pay under the table and you're found to be paying under the table, look, you tell every single employee that's under the table, which are more litigious on average than the average legal worker, which is legal worker. I'm talking about people under the table that very well could be American citizens too. You're just paying them cash instead of all of the other things, which makes it easier on you. If your payroll, if it's $20 an hour, I give you $20 cash. I'm actually at a net win when it comes to that because I don't have to pay all the other back end stuff that's necessary now.
Payroll tax and everything
payroll
else.
taxes, all of that, workman's comp, Social Security, all the other stuff that you have to pay in for. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. Now you need to get your shit straight because that's putting everybody else that is doing it legitimately at a disadvantage.
And especially in
So,
this state, man, the
this
hammer is coming.
To that, yes.
The hammer is coming.
Yes.
Florida ain't playing around. That's why I love this state so much. That's why I've called this place home for 10 years. And they don't mess around when it comes to this stuff. And we'll really start to see it snowball and pick up. We got elections coming up. I think it's going to really start getting shoved down the throats of Floridians who are not abiding by state law and federal law. And there's going to be a good opportunity for people that are looking to start businesses that want to do it the right way. So hopefully this stuff can continue. And like Chad said, if you're, we've talked about this topic a lot. If you're not listening, mouth breathers, it's time to get your shit together, because if not, Chad and I are going to open a business and we're going to take all your customers.
Yeah. I promise you, I've got a sweat equity for it's new. It's coming. I promise you. Yeah. So also, just to finish that point that I kind of lost on it just a minute ago, it's the same as anybody. If you tell somebody that they are entitled to something, all of these illegals will start calling on the company owners when they get hurt and things like that. They're going to start doing it, which means it's going to help accelerate cleaning it up. Because all of the benefits that they have been reaping for so long are going to be stripped away. And now they're going to have people that you have that pattern of thinking, you better fucking break it. I'm telling you, you better get into Betty Ford Clinic and work on that fucking addiction, because this shit's about to change. These fucking people, these illegal immigrants are going to call on you. There will be, I guarantee you, they're going to set up a hotline. They're going to set up ways to be able to hold you accountable. And these people that you've been doing the favor for with the cash, they're going to end up calling on you because they're going to think that they can get more money. They're litigious. I had 125 employees, and there was a great degree of those employees. If they had the opportunity for a lawsuit, they'd ask me, how do I sue the person that ran into us in traffic? I'm like, well, there wasn't any injuries, correct? No. Well, we don't actually do anything when it comes to suing. I don't have any recommendations for you. I have nothing to say about this. You have to take that up yourself. By the way, very unlikely they're going to be able to sue the other person. So,
but they're ready for it. They want to.
And
it's not out of their pocket.
Attorneys out there too.
That's a really good point. It's not out of their pocket. They have everything to gain and nothing to lose, even being illegal.
It's coming, because what will happen with this type of law is these attorneys will hear it and they're going to start putting out on these billboards the most dominant foreign language that's going to be, heard on the job. Give us a call. You're entitled to a settlement or whatever. And I'm telling you right now, they may be like, you know what? I get a settlement, I leave the country. So you better get to that Betty Ford fucking clinic quick, man. Break yourself of that addiction on margin, because it's not going to be the same moving forward. Play right, play legit.
It's ongoing. So better buckle up, or else it's going to get taken behind the shed and you're going to get a spanking. If you don't keep it going. I know you had something, Chad, that you said you wanted to discuss a little bit, something that I would like. I got kind of one more topic that's a little close to home as well, but I think we're going to save it. It's more of just a discussion piece, really, to get some ideas on it. But
well, look, there's a lot going on. There's all kinds of things. One of the things that I want to say is don't be a fucking ostrich and stuff your head in the sand. But at the same time, don't get too caught up in the whirlwind. Keep yourself grounded. Okay. You need to focus on your business. If you haven't started one, this is a very good time to figure out where you're going to take your piece of the niche of the economy, because this is it. Let's go, because it's happening. Right. There's a vacancy that's occurring in the trades that if you play it right, if you don't know what you want to do, but you want to be a business owner, go find one of the trades that you want to work inside of, get a job, make it your report card, work for them. You never know. They may be ambitious to grow their company. They just don't have the right people in place. I know plenty of business owners. They do not have their key employee that they can trust to run it when they even go on vacation. Be that person.
For real.
Because if you go into HVAC's got great margins, right? Get involved with that. I promise you, you will get a retirable career, like one that you can make great money. And if you help a business owner fill in the void for what they need in order to grow their company, you got something coming. Right. And if you want to go the sweat equity route, which is what we're doing, right? Which is, think the equity firms. Sweat equity firm is the talent is the currency. Okay, there's investors involved, but they're lower end investors. They don't need to be $5 million and all that stuff to cap out, because that's typical of an equity firm. A lot of different variations and things, risk values, things like that. They're one of the hottest investments that there is out right now. It's better. Most private equity firms are yielding better than the average stocks.
Yeah.
So that's why you got a lot of these very wealthy people getting involved. So if you have $5 million worth of liquidity, you can go over it. Again, the numbers are based on the firm. I'm just throwing this out there. You can go over and get into them. Well, you know what? How about we actually get people who say, you know what, pull them up by the bootstraps. We are going to pull it up by the bootstraps. I'm going to let you know that your talent is capable of helping take you to the next level. You just don't know shit about business. Now it's time to get a job where you can start learning about business. So that's going to be part of that sweat equity approach that we have. Now, that's that part. That's what I'm up to. We got the advertising truck that I'm building right now. I'm still got to find the right truck, which has been getting ridiculous. But so as far as that goes, it's still in the process. Now, the other things, right? Like what Josh owns a landscape company.
Portering services.
Yep.
And that too, Property Solutions.
There you go.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got people that are ready to grow. All right. So, and it's coming. It's going to happen. I'm seeing more and more landscape companies out there that very clearly, these are American employees.
Yeah.
You know, very clearly American. They're citizens. You know, it's awesome. I love seeing it. You see guys pull up and you got 3 guys jump out of the truck, and then immediately they're on to the job. And I got to tell you, I smile every time I see it.
Yeah.
One grabs the blower, actually grabs the hand stick options and things. The other one gets on gets out, pulls the blower out from the trailer. You know, you got, 2 of them could be running stick, or the blower. You got all that, and you see it and you're like, man, I love seeing this. Right. So be open-minded to this. If you don't know enough about business, get out and get started on it. Find a job. Use that as your report card.
Send us an email.
Absolutely.
Emails in the description always. It's a good, especially if you're like me and like, cause I kind of work the night shift, I guess you could say. So my mornings are really open. Let's say you're, the average person working the average job and you have some extra time based on your schedule. Starting something like this would be a really good idea, because you don't have to go balls to the wall from the get-go. You can grow it slowly to the point to where once you start getting busy enough and you start getting some money flowing, you can really think, hey, do I want to continue this, 9 to 5 traditional career, whatever you have, or do you want to double down and get into the business you created? And then where we live, Pinellas County, there's a lot of people here. We're the most densely populated county in the state. So there is ample opportunity to get things that are trades, even just silly services. People need things. And if you can create services that are going to solve people's problems, is what it really comes down to, there's opportunity out there for you. All it comes down to is whether or not you are ready to do the work. I pick up trash, okay? But go drive around Largo and tell me how many places need to pick up trash, okay? It's everywhere, right?
Simple business.
Yeah.
Simple business startup.
It's not as challenging. And sure, Chad is going on an endeavor that takes a lot of capital and does take a little bit more wherewithal as far as starting, but that doesn't mean that you have to go that route initially or go that route at all. There's other services you could offer with very little to no overhead whatsoever.
Yep. Cleaning services are incredibly inexpensive.
Yes.
So there's quite a few. Labor, just general labor, incredibly easy to start. And if you're not sure what to do, you can start contacting some of these people. You can be a temp agency.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
You and a couple other people, just make sure you get payroll set up. Then you just let them know this is what our rate is, because there's a lot of temp agencies out there. All it is that whatever you started at today doesn't mean it's going to be what it is tomorrow. It will always grow and adapt. So keep this stuff in mind. It's always easy. And again, if you don't know what you want to do, you can get a job working for somebody that's in a direction of something that you'd be interested in doing yourself. Right? So they will teach you. They will. If you can make sure you have a good, solid relationship, I'm an advocate for that. Make a good, solid relationship. You never know where they want to go. They may actually let you buy them out of their own business.
Yeah.
That's actually not as challenging as most people would think. There's a guy that I do like to follow that likes to buy trailer parks.
Okay.
Yep. He buys trailer parks. He gets the actual assessed value of it. And then the person wants an exit strategy. So he pays them a specific amount of money for the rest of their life, or until they hit a window of time that's all agreed upon, and he gets that money every single month. And that person doesn't have to run anything anymore. He comes in as the operating company. He takes care of everything else. He markets, he operates, he does the entire thing. And he actually doesn't do it at any cost to himself, other than what he's already got set up. You got a marketing person, I do. Make sure you just have somebody that's there in place and ready to go. And then you just like, hey, I'll take over. I'll run the operations of this. This guy's got multiple trailer parks now.
Yeah.
RV parks, places like that.
Okay.
Some are seasonal, some aren't. And he's turned some of them into a hybrid where there's tiny homes on the property as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of really interesting things you can do. I'm an advocate for creating a small city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like tiny homes, little town and shit, theme it up, all that, man.
Mhm.
That would be fun. And I think a lot of people, especially Zennials and Millennials, that are going to have first-time home buyer issues
Yeah.
because of the cost, the astronomical cost of these homes now.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, if you can buy into a tiny home for something like $60,000 and you're in a neighborhood for other people that are similar in their mindset, you got a tiny store, you got everything set up that you're going to need right there. I mean, dude, that's awesome. That would be fun to live that way. You got your tiny bar, like all of that stuff, man. It'd be a really cool thing.
And I built tiny homes. This is back in like 2017. A guy was building them, and actually for the summertime, I'd go on the weekends and build the tiny homes with them. And there was a market.
Awesome.
We'd sell them. You know, people would want them. And
oh yeah, shipping containers.
yeah,
Dude, guys, here's something that's interesting for you. Look up the cost of a used shipping container. No, it doesn't. That's not the end product. That is, but that is a very big piece of the product. And that'll run on average about $2,000.
really.
$2,000 for a 20-foot.
Hmm.
Yeah. So roughly, because they're done for what their main purpose is. They're solid. So you've already got a frame. You build it out. I mean, it's like there's so many ways to make money. There are so many jobs and companies and things like that you can get involved with. The goal is this: understand what you know right now that's necessary to do what you want to do, and then start researching what you don't know. Put like a project management tool, right? Like you set a line and then you say, this is where I want to be. And then you start setting your milestones. You know exactly what you need to do. And you got on track. You call, you get the accountant set up. You call, you get your attorney. You take all the steps necessary. All you're doing is lining up. You're not doing any execution just yet. No money out of pocket yet, or very little out, because you're in the planning phase. You know, and then wherever you find that you are unaware, you research. If you realize it's going to take a skill set, not just reading something, then look for how you're going to gain that skill set. Are you going to go get a job working for a company that is doing that type of skill set, even if it's unrelated? Sales is sales no matter where you go. So, okay, if you're weak in sales, get a job in sales. I promise you right now, you get a telemarketing job. It's one of the worst in sales that you could possibly get, other than door knocking. And door knocking, Jesus Christ. There are a lot of companies out there, they won't pay you anything until you close a deal, but you can go and practice your skills.
Yeah, yeah. And that's really what it comes down to, is practicing and putting in the time, just like anything else. And that means overall, I know we're on the business topic, but I'm very big on self-improvement. And I've been on this journey for quite some time now, of just like the 1% better a day. You got to make sure not only are you working on your personal, your career skills, but you can bring to the world, but you're also focusing on your physical health, which is Brad and I are very big on. You got to be developing yourself overall. And I actually, in a friend group, I asked this question at the beginning of February. I asked, so tell me, the question was, tell me how February 1st you are different than you were on January 1st. And almost everyone in my friend group, the first thing that they said was they got a raise. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. You know, that is what you should be thinking of in that question is, what other aspects of your life have you built your character up? How have you built your body up? How are you progressing to something more than the dollar amount you've received? Because that's how a lot of people think. They think that their bank account is their value. That is them. And it's nice to make money. We all want raises. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to go, if you want to get to that next level that we're all trying to achieve, then you got to go a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, be purposeful.
Yeah.
What the hell drives you to just paying your bills? You know what? The end of your life, you're just going to be like, hey, I paid my bills.
Exactly.
I gave my kids something. You know, it's great that you can give your kids something. Give your kids something more than money.
Yeah.
Show them the work ethic. Show them how to research things. Show them how to work hard. Show them how to actually grind yourself to the point that you barely crawled over the finish line, but you did something, right? If you need endurance, okay, try doing a marathon, right? Like, you just like figure out what it is that you need in order to be successful. So if you really want to make a difference, start looking at where you spend your time.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'll give you a couple of interesting things. I don't watch regular TV and I don't listen to music between the hours of 3 a.m.
Yeah, he's up early.
Until 6:30 or 7 p.m. The earliest I'll actually start watching TV or get any kind of like entertainment is about 6:30 p.m. So I've got that entire day. And by the way, I go to bed pretty damn early. So I'm usually in bed by 8:30 because I got a whole day I got to get a hold of. So if you start looking at budgeting your time and your attention, it's not just your time. You'd be a fucking la la land. Like, oh, I'm going to go sit in that room and I'm going to work on my computer and write a book or whatever it is, but I'm going to listen to some music and, you know, like all the rest of the shit. And I'm like, why are you dividing your attention? So I don't do the entertainment stuff until later in the day. So I don't listen to music. I give myself an allowance on music unless I know for a fact that I just have to really give myself some emotional moment, like some care, if you will. You know, maybe I need some nostalgia, which is pretty much all that I get when I listen to music anyway. So I just feel like I need a little bit of nostalgia because that'll add to the base of my confidence or something that it's going to be there for. So therefore I could do something with it. Other than that, I got podcasts, I've got books on tape, I have my library of my tangible library. I'm obsessed with development. So I'm going to listen to and pay attention to the things that are going to be necessary for me to continue to move forward.
And start small. You'd be amazed what an hour a day, if you put an hour of solid, whatever you want to do, whether it's something like Chad and I do with the show or whatever you want to achieve, whatever dreams you have, if you do an hour a day for a year, at the end of that year, you're going to be in a much different place than you were before. You don't have to do these 4 hours. If you really want to go after it, you think you can stick to it, sure, but it doesn't take a lot of time to actually commit and achieve something if you put in the time and get that 1% mindset a day. So that just keep going, like we say on the show. Stay informed, stay motivated, stay focused. Right? It comes with time.
Absolutely. You know, and put yourself in conversations with people that actually are up to something. Now, if every time you talk to somebody about something, they deflate you, they take away from it, or they distract, just know that that's not going to be somebody that's at your counsel. Right? Like you can have somebody who asks you critical questions. Don't get that confused with people that deflate you. Right? If you're deflated because of a critical question, you need to look at your confidence, what you're doing. And is it something that you really do want to do, or you're just wanting to do it because you heard it makes a lot of money, or that you'll get the person that you want to be dating, or whatever the other thing is that motivates you, really find the thing that drives you. Right? We have vacancies that are coming up very soon, not just in you know, we're going to have to reinvent men soon too.
Yeah.
You should be working on that right now, reinventing yourself as a man, because there's a lot of guys that got lost in the whole feminist bullshit that we had going on. Some of us never realized what it's supposed to be a man because dad wasn't around. I understand that too. I'm not downing anybody, but you're not cursed by that.
No.
It's your turn now to become the man that your father wasn't. I'm not downing your dad, by the way. We had other forces at play to move fathers out of the home. So people don't know about whenever, I believe it was in late 70s, there was a law passed that every time child support is paid by the parent that owes child support to the other parent, the state gets the equivalent in federal money to the state. So if I pay whatever, let's say I pay $250, you know, for child support, the state will get $250. That's not to go to the mother or in the scenario. That's the state gets it, right? I would pay that to the mother, and the mother would have that for our child. Now, by the way, women that abuse the child support system, and people are like, oh, it's her right to do whatever. No, it's called child support, not get your fucking nails done.
Exactly.
Right? It's called child support, not taking a vacation without your kid. You know,
not your income.
It's like that is not your income. That's for the child. All right. This is a big gripe with that. But the state's incentivized to actually make. Typically, it's the father, but it's whoever the parent is that's required to give money to the other parent. The state gets money for that. You know, that needs to be changed. All right. We at one point in time that was just to incentivize the states to really get on it because they had all these mothers that were trying to raise kids without any other help. Predominantly it was mothers. Then they said, okay, well, we're going to incentivize the states. All right. Guess what? There's no incentive necessary anymore. The system is overdoing it. So we need to get to the point where we fix this. We need to bring men up again and understand, look, your dating app is fucking you up. Because that's more of that shit you're going to need to go and get yourself checked into Betty Ford Clinic on. Right? Because you're hooked on instant and quick satisfaction. If you're having a problem in the relationship you're in, have you worked your way through that? Or are you stepping out? right? If you are not the type of person to be in a monogamous relationship, fucking have the courage to say it. Step up.
Yeah.
Say it, right? I understand life circumstances are happening too. Just work on it. All right. We need to bring men back. We're usually shit on socially. As soon as there's a problem in a relationship, the guy's wrong. In most instances, it's a default state that a lot of people get to, right? Doesn't mean it's exclusive. Everybody has their book views. Don't take away the point, right? Point is that men usually are the victim, they're usually the perpetrator, and the woman's usually the victim. We need to start actually looking at what's true moving forward. So become the head of the household again, be the man that's necessary to be, build yourself up. You are teaching the future generation. If you didn't have a father in your life, there's other ways of understanding what's necessary to be a good father.
Yes.
And don't shit on your dad for not being there. Just know the forces that you feel that are making it hard for you to be a father is the same things that your father had to go through.
Yep, just a person too, trying to figure it out. When your parents had you, they didn't know what the fuck was going on either. So, and it's not their problem, right? I mean, there was a great quote by Ricky Williams, a running back back in the day in the NFL, and he said, "When you blame things on other people, it gives them the power to change them." And I've always really liked that quote. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good quote.
Yeah,
and that's really how it is. So. It's just, but again, it's on you, right? No one's coming to save you. So that's kind of what we're saying. And we'll continue that topic. It's part of the show. I hope that the viewers, you guys, can really see that when we first started Waking the People, it's a little bit different than it is now. I come from the political side, and then Chad brings it back to show us how it should affect you as an individual. So you have your politics. Politics are important, but politics are a vehicle to how you should live your life, one by voting, and then one also by your actions, not to get sensationalized or polarized by certain topics or certain ideas or theologies. It's all about bringing the two together and making sure that you make the best decision that you can for yourself, and you can live with whatever decision is made, because sometimes you only get one vote and it may not come to fruition what you're really looking for as far as candidates, and you have to be okay with that and know you can survive based on your own, what you can actually do just besides voting in the real world. So
yeah, it's one of those things. Like I've said this to Josh since we talked about bringing the show back. I don't want to get obsessed with politics again. Now, you do need to understand what's going on. Local politics is the best place to really put your attention. I mean, obviously, yes, presidential and federal elections do have consequences too, but on a local level, that's going to affect you at a more of an aggressive level.
Yes.
Because they can actually, like, look at California. By the way, I don't know if you guys have caught up with this or not. California is sending notices to people that have left the state, telling them they still owe taxes.
Really?
Yes. Yes, they said they were going to do it, but where are they going to get the money for? One, the federal government is not going to be sending the same amount of wildlife, by the way. That was actually balancing the books money.
Really?
When they would send federal relief money for natural disasters, things like that. That was relief money because they can't run the state in a surplus off of their own production. So they have to actually get the state to step in, or the federal government to step in to balance them out, just so they can break even, because there's so much fucking corruption in California. Now they're actually going after the previous citizens of California and saying, you owe us money. Now, I don't know where the cutoff is, but they said they were going to do this. They said they were going to do it for like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and people like that, where they're like, oh, you're big money. Now they're actually, they're running the state very much like freaking Mondani in New York. They're like in New York City, right? The mayor. Very similar in how they're running the state. So they're like, hey, we don't know how we're actually going to balance this budget. Now Mondani's out there saying that it's all because of Adams. And, he actually came out and he was actually speaking against Adams, and he was trying to make the cuts necessary to try to balance the budget. And he was like, he wants to cut this and that. He has a duty that he should be able to keep those services and still do this. And it's like the dude is completely detached from reality. And he has zero business sense, absolutely zero business sense, because he's a destruction agent. But anyway, so California is calling back, saying you owe us money. How incredibly fucked up is that? You leave the state, you run your business outside of the state, and they're like, I still want some of that. Give me a piece of that. You used to live here. You guys really need to start. The same as like people are like, oh, the rich don't pay their fair share. You know what? How about you stop asking and demanding the rich pay their fair share and start asking about these fucking politicians that are taking your money and writing it off and sending it out wherever the hell they want to. And the majority of that, in my opinion, is laundering system so they can enrich themselves and their party.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why the Democrats became so damn big, how much money was going through USAID.
Yeah,
USAID,
yeah.
right? And that's not the only one. Social Security too, same thing. Buying votes, all the rest of this shit. You don't hear about that from Republicans much, if at all.
No.
Right? But you do hear about it now with the Democrats, not just because we have a Republican cabinet, all of that in elected in and installed, or in administration. Not installed, guys. They weren't installed.
Yeah.
But the
Installed
administration,
by us,
by the voter.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're there to do their job. But they have no favor for these people. I was a homeowner whenever they were telling me that if you have a tenant, you cannot evict the tenant. And the tenant was given money more than what the majority of these people made when they were getting these stimmy checks, right?
Yeah.
And they decided not to pay the rent because they didn't have to, because they weren't going to get evicted. So you were a homeowner holding on to the property as best you can, being a landlord. And then you're like, okay, well, now I also need to pay for these fuckers that don't want to pay me, and I can't evict them because I will be criminally charged.
That moratorium.
Yeah. So we got to watch out for this stuff, because this is the kind of stuff that we're getting out of, right? Because that's what Biden's administration did to us. They went as far as went through OSHA to force people to not evict. Like, how insane. And all of us are forgetting about that. The homeowners, the landlord. And then you got kids that don't have the ability to buy a home yet, aren't even working on their credit in order to build up enough, or their skill sets enough, because they're out there fucking protesting, going, oh, well, communism's the answer. You haven't even developed yourself. You're sitting there as this ball of clay that they formed you into, the purple-haired weirdo that you are, instead of becoming the person that actually works in society in a way that people want you to be a part of what they're doing. So therefore, they reward you financially and opportunities to grow, which is the way it's a real good way of looking at working for somebody. Look at it that way versus, oh, these bastards, they don't want to give us any money. They won't pay me what I'm worth. I know I make a lot more money for the company. You don't understand the business.
Yeah.
And if that's your thinking, I absolutely implore you, stop it. Slap yourself in the face in front of the mirror when you start doing that. You need to understand business. And if you're not making enough money, guess what? You got the option of going somewhere else.
Yep.
But you're going to find out the grass is only greener on the other side of the fence because they use manure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they spread shit all over the place, but you don't see that.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Takes time.
Yeah.
All the tirades. No, it's okay. That was a good topic. So, I mean, we got really just one left topic for today. Again, kind of going back to local, an incident that happened this past Sunday. This past Sunday it happened. So, and we've touched on it on the show, the ongoing 2026 Florida gubernatorial election. Yes, that is a word. I had to double take it as well. Gubernatorial. I was like, there's no way that's a real word, but it is. So kind of just to recap, if you don't know what that word means, essentially it's just the Florida governor race that's upcoming.
It's a governor race.
Yeah, it's just a governor race, special little word they created. I was like, goober. Anyway, so just kind of a recap of the candidates, right? We have Brian Donalds, who's MAGA endorsed, data-centered, viewed as kind of the establishment at this point, fair enough. We have James Fishback, we've talked about in the show, America First, sin tax, 50% tax on OnlyFans creators, Mondani tax, taxing people essentially moving from other states into Florida who buy single-family homes, an upfront tax at that, elimination of H-1B visas, etc. That's on the right side. David Jolly, who's the Democrat side, former Republican, but most likely going to win at least the Republican nomination. The Democrat nomination. That's who the Republicans will be going against. But this past week and this past Sunday, there was an incident at James Fishback's home. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, I didn't.
But there was an arson event where someone actually set his lawn on fire. So there's a lot to dive into, and that's kind of why I'm bringing the topic up. No one was hurt. The fire department came. It's all cleared up. Not too much information was released on it, but as I've developed, again, like we started the show saying, hey, listen, I don't believe anything just at face value, right? So the first thing I asked myself was this a real assassination attempt, or is this a hoax? Was this a way to create some kind of controversy and to get
attention?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like LM.
Exactly. It kind of felt, and it could be. I'm not saying that it wasn't. It was just kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's where we're at, though.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like no matter what it is, you have to be skeptical. It's not harmful to be skeptical, but right now it's a significant bog down. Right? Because no matter what it is, no matter what somebody does, everybody is so hypercritical. And let me just tell you what happens. when you're hypercritical about everyone and everything, you're stressed to the hilt, you're going to pop off and snap easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to find your peace, man. Find Jesus.
Find Jesus.
Because I got to tell you, some of these people are just, the way they're acting is they're going to go find him pretty soon.
Yeah.
And it won't be by choice.
No.
These people, there's a lot of people that are just on edge and they don't need to be. So turn off the fucking TV.
Yeah.
Right? Look for the fruits of their labor to find out their truth. So stop buying into the bullshit. So yes, I hear a lot of great stuff. My issues that I have with Fishback is he's new to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's got. I know he's a younger guy.
Mhm.
Anytime there's a younger guy, you always have questions about the wisdom of their decisions, because it's not deciding for themselves. It's deciding for a very large amount of people.
Mhm.
I can also tell you this. We're about to watch the property tax conversation in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
They're talking about just increasing homestead exempt, which it would be pretty significant. I want to see it abolished.
Yeah.
I want the property taxes taken out completely. Here's the thing that'll happen. We have other taxation, by the way. People are like, well, what's going to go on with education? Well, right now, with the way they're doing educations, they're going to be cutting out a lot of the bloat anyway, because all that bullshit leftist nonsense that is going on in the federal education system. Yeah, I am incredibly grateful that money is going away. They should not have say-so in how a state actually runs it. The state should run like its own business. So we have property tax. If it goes, this state is going to be incredibly sought after, more so than before.
Yeah.
Because I don't know for a fact, but I think Texas is on the verge of doing it. They haven't already done it.
Yeah, right now it's Tennessee is one state that doesn't state property tax. I know Georgia was talking about doing it, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I think Texas had the same idea. So it could be, but hopefully we're the first ones to really.
If we do it, guys, the property values are going to continue to increase. That helps with for me personally, I want to see people being able to take their steps if you need to. If you have to get into a tiny home to get to be first-time homeowner, it's fine. We will adapt, because it's meritocracy, right? I don't want to see people not being able to get the home of their dreams, but you got to fucking work for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody in our past has. I don't give a damn if you have a grandparent that owns multiple homes. I don't care about any of that. They worked hard to acquire it. Okay. Learn the work ethic, and you'll start to be able to benefit from the rewards too. Not sitting back going, something's unfair there, or that family did something. You know what? That family did do something. That family made a decision several generations before you even knew they did anything. And they started making changes that gave them the accumulation through generational education. So this is big when it comes to tradition. Traditions are for those reasons, by the way. It's to help hold those types of relationships, generational relationships in place, tradition. So get used to this, guys. If you want to own a home, okay, let's look at opportunities here. All right. Know that if property tax goes away, a lot of the investors are going to have some problems, because people aren't going to want to go to theirs. They're going to want to get into their own freedom of no property tax. Right now, hell, my house, taking out property tax would have made my mortgage sub $1,000.
Yeah, I think mine
it would have
too.
been like less than $1,000 a month. Well, less than $1,000 a month if property taxes had been taken off of my mortgage. So,
and it's not easy. Make sure when you buy a house, or when I bought this place, it was back in like 2021, and be ready for the show. You better have your big boy pants on, because it's not, I own a home, but guess what? That comes with an extra responsibility and stuff that you're going to have to do. It's not as simple as renting. So the American dream is to own a home. I think everyone should have the opportunity, if they put in the work, to own a home. It is not a right. It is a privilege to own a home. But when you do, know that comes with more responsibilities than just renting does, and you are responsible for maintaining the property, which means
treat it like a business.
Guess what? You owe $1,200 to fix your AC, or etc. There's always something going on.
Treat it like a business.
Exactly.
If you treat it like a business, you'll have funds that you've allocated for each contingency.
Yeah.
So if your air conditioning goes out, the contingency your air conditioning's out, you're going to have a plan of what you're going to do, and you won't have to actually go, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I understand that a lot of people live in paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
When you're looking to buy a house, do not buy at your limit.
Fuck no.
Okay. If you need to get something smaller for now, then call it your starter home. Okay. So that you're learning the ownership requirements and how to budget properly. that is a bad place to be in, where you have purchased a house that if you lose the job you have, replacing the job you have may be hard. Therefore, now you're not only likely going to lose your job, you're also going to likely lose your home. So don't buy at that limit.
House broke.
Keep it below. Yes.
House broke's the thing. You better have, my cardinal rule, I didn't really start shopping until I had at least 8 months of money worth for expenditures, bills, anything. 8 months I could coast. I got that liquid, not in a 401k or something you have to pull out. Liquid 8 months worth of money, plus your income and plus some other, stems that you can pull money from. Then you get into a house, because something is always going to happen. Then your vehicle, etc. Right? So you got to make sure you have. And these mortgage brokers won't tell you that when you buy a house. Realtors won't. They won't give you the financial advice. And Chad and I are not financial advisors. This is all for educational, entertainment purposes only. But you got to make sure you do your own due diligence when you're ready to step in. But the clock's ticking. Clock's ticking. If you want a house, you better start making your own personal decisions to set yourself up to where you can afford that later down the road. Because to Chad's point, when property taxes go away, it's going to be like COVID on steroids, and more people are going to be coming down out of state, taking our places. Maybe not so much, hopefully not so much BlackRock that we kind of saw in the past as far as conglomerates.
Yeah, I don't believe they're allowed to.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work, but I believe that was executive order. They're not allowed to buy.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that's going to work, because
me
they could
neither.
start little ones, and who knows? It may be the risk that if it is found that they bought the house is therefore in default, but they may don't get the money back either. I don't know. They've got to have some sort of punishment method to deal with people that are doing that. But anyway, also another thing, stop just fucking. Like, seriously, just stop. Stop just having sex. Stop dating to have sex. Okay? Point. Meet somebody or work with somebody. Now, by the way, whoever you start working with doesn't mean they're there for life. You're building the relationship skills and the traits necessary to become successful when you have that foundation at home. So when you can talk to your partner about something related to your growth, talk to your partner about those things. Don't just sit there and talk to your partner about whether or not they're going to take it from the backside. It's like, talk to them. Like, if you can't have a conversation about opportunities with your partner, then it's either you are the wrong partner for that other person, or they're the wrong one for you. But either way, you can start right now to try to salvage those relationships by talking to your partner about opportunities and growth. Stop just fucking. Okay. Now, if you want to, fine, but treat your life like something you're trying to make better, right? Because you're still going to fuck. You're still going to do it. But you're going to be doing it with somebody that really does have your back. So you're going to want to understand the relationship values. Those are your core values. And if you don't have them well practiced, start practicing them now. What does your future require that you do today? Right? So if the person that you're dating, like, I was really wanting to go out to the club on Friday. And you're like, yeah, but I got this entrepreneur group that I can go to. Do you want to go with me? Now you know if your partner's there for you or if they're just there for the good times. Yeah. Right? Really, if your partner goes, oh, cool. All right, well, let's do it. You don't have to go to the entrepreneur group and have everything well fleshed out. You go in there because they're all in the business mindset of trying to create something. So you go in there to be a potential for resources for them as they are for you, and you're in a conversation that'll start changing your life. It doesn't mean it's going to change it tomorrow. It's not a magic pill. Like they said, the McDonald's brothers, the original, not Croc, but the two brothers, they said, yep, we were an instant success 30 years in the making. We are instant overnight success 30 years in the making. So start dating for the reality of the world that you want. If you're dating, if you're married, start those conversations now. Look, sometimes your partner is going to take a little while to come around to it because they've gone through all kinds of stuff with you. You probably tried different things. They've got their habits. They've got the way that life works. You got the kids' routines. You got all this other stuff that's going on. It's understandable. But start the conversation. Like, look, I want to change this. Let's start having board meetings at the dinner table. We're going to do this quarterly, and we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about the nature of what I'm doing, what you're doing, and what we're doing contributory to the success that we have. And you start that. Treat it like a board meeting. Okay? You got your CEO, you got your treasurer, you get the job aligned where they belong. Right? And then that's the responsibility you have when you're sitting down at the dinner table to talk. Right? Treat it that way. If you got kids, same thing. How can your kids be part of it? By the way, here's a great succession plan for people. Raise your kids to be your successor. If you started an air conditioning company, teach your kid how to run that. Teach them the benefits of it. They can still explore other stuff. They're like, well, I want to do these other things. Fantastic. Do the other things too, but you're going to be able to afford doing those by actually taking this over.
Exactly.
And if you can't, they're fine. Fantastic. Send us an email. We'll actually talk about a succession plan for you.
Exactly.
So
you go to the beach. If you go to take them to the beach, okay, Indian Rocks Beach, go by the water, watch the boats go by, and you tell them, listen, that guy owns an HVAC company. That guy owns an HVAC company. Just an example. I mean,
that's a masonry company there.
Yeah.
Like, right, because a lot of those people that you see with boats are trades.
Yeah.
That's a lot of them.
Yep.
So keep it in mind. All right. We've obviously can go on for quite a while about this. If you guys want to hear more about this, what we're up to with the sweat equity firm and what Joshua and I do, by the way, he goes by Joshua.
It's on my license, yeah.
But anyway, if you want to know more, if you want to be involved in those conversations and not get too caught up on what's going on with all the other craziness, by the way, we're not going to say don't pay attention. Just don't get sucked in.
Exactly.
Okay. When it's time to take action, take action. Other than that, you need to take action on your life. Okay. If you're in the wrong relationship or you can't seem to find a relationship, I can tell you how to find them.
Yeah. I think
I'm not your relationship coach, but by God, we can work on it.
I think next episode, we're going to lead on that topic.
That's
I think that's a really good topic. And it's political as well. There's other aspects of it and why it's happening. I think it's a really good topic. So
yep. And if your wife is a screaming crazy liberal, how do you potentially use that as an advantage to grow your business?
Exactly.
Because I promise you, they have psychological traits that are beneficial.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely. They're not all bad. They just have some really bad ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can salvage it. You can actually read. You just, all it is the same thing. Like anytime I would go in to consult with a company and help them restructure, you find out who their key players are and you find out exactly how they're a key player and how they're managed and what the relationship is from management to that employee or from the owner to the management team. So you go in and you start understanding, okay, you're not going to wipe everything out because, unless it's not working. But if it is working, how do you create a management system to make it really work? And you can do that in relationships too. Yeah. So we're going to have some great conversation. You want to see more about that or hear more about it, by all means, send us an email or comment on this video.
Yeah, comment.
Don't forget, share. By the way, you guys are doing a great job with that.
Yeah.
Joshua's killing it. He's doing all the back end stuff right now, and he's doing an awesome job with it.
It's been great. So, yeah, just to thank you guys. I mean, the clips are coming out. I know you guys enjoy those. We've had some pretty decent success. I mean, not to toot our own horn, but if you look at some other demographics as far as like the analytics that YouTube has, I mean, when we first started the show, it was pretty good. Now it looks like fucking Bitcoin, like a year ago. It's kind of it's interesting. So we appreciate that as always. Thank you guys for helping out the show. Just like Chad said, don't forget that subscribe button, the like button, leave us a comment. I'm on the comments. If you comment, I'll bet you I will answer you within 20 seconds. So leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Stay focused, stay motivated, and stay golden, pony boy.
Yeah. Let's create some great shit. Right? Let's do something epic. And stay informed, but create something epic. All right. Till next time. Chad Everett Brochures.
Joshua T. McClendon.
My man. All right. We'll catch you on the next one.